Welcome everyone, this is Pine Leaf Needles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Ending,
Hey, everybody.
Terry Adwin,
Hi,
Maven,
Hey, y'all.
and Carvette.
At your service and your families.
And now let's head into our game news for this week, and this is a bit late. LOTRO Market Black Friday sales, or are they being extended past Black Friday?
They're usually the whole weekend.
Monday.
Yeah, they usually go a while, yep.
Okay.
The best sales of the year, barring Christmas.
Through the 28th, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, so through Monday, which is what I said.
I always wish that they would put on the 1-year VIP on sale, because that would just be the most amazing deal.
Man, that would be,
Oh my
that
God,
would be
they
like
could
an
have a
OP
run.
deal.
Yeah,
That would be an OP
that'd be
deal,
awesome.
like in the classic sense of the word OP.
Like, I mean, they could just do, like 5% off, or not 5, but, 10% off, and that'd still be a really good deal, so. That's the one thing I'd wish they'd do, but they haven't done that the last few years, but, there's always next year, or Christmas time, maybe. But
Right.
in general, tons of amazing deals. If you are wanting to buy an expansion, now is the time, because it's like 75% off stuff, so.
Yeah, you can get Rohan. You can get basically all the way up to Helm's Deep for $20.
Yeah,
When
it's a
and
really
there's
good
the
deal.
quad pack, right? That's the quad
Yeah, you get
pack.
That's with the quad pack,
which
yeah.
is Mirkwood, Isengard, Moria, and
Rohan.
Rohan.
Helm's Deep is not in the quad pack, because
Yeah.
there's 5
Yeah.
expansions, not
Up
4.
to Helm's
So,
Deep.
Yeah.
Okay.
yep.
Yeah, so you get Helm's Deep as a separate one, but you get 5 expansions for $20, which is like ginormously great.
But if and when Mordor comes out as an expansion, they could release, the Pentapack and have the
Yeah,
previous
no
5
kidding.
expansions all together.
Maybe a Septipack if they did all 6.
Sex
I
tat.
suppose,
Sex
yeah.
Be a
pack.
sex
There you go.
pack.
A sex pack. That just is not going to go over well for marketing.
Well,
LOTRO
and
became
even
a kind of game
even
after Mordor
six-pack would
release.
be
I don't
misleading.
know.
Just call it a six-pack. Yeah,
A
I'll call it
6-pack. I could
six-pack.
deal with that. Yeah.
That's right, six-pack.
A 6-pack of ale. Me hearties. Wait, no, it's a pirate game now. I don't understand. Never mind. Hi.
That could be their marketing on Pirate Day.
Yeah.
Arr.
It's a 6-pack of LOTRO, me hearties.
and speaking of the LOTRO market, what's on sale at the LOTRO store this weekend?
Junk.
Junk?
Junk and more junk.
Legendary item stuff.
This week's free sample is a Max Morale and Power Scroll ×1. Use coupon code MORPOW 1 time per account. More powder.
More pow.
Oh, Morale and Power. Morale
More
and Power.
pow. I like more
Okay,
pow.
and 30% off Legendary junk. Legendary level cap increase, Legendary item stat upgrade, Relic packs, Legendary slot unlock, Legacy tier upgrade, Scroll of Combination, Relic removal scroll, and Legacies. It's nice to see that all of the Legendary junk is on sale at once. instead of, like, bits and pieces, I guess. But also
Very
through
good
Monday,
defense.
they've got a run on bonus points in the store, so if you buy Turbine points, you get extra points. And Blessing and Gift of the Valor are also 30% off, I think, through the weekend.
Sweet.
All right, then let's head into our site news, and we'll begin with the community events calendar for November 25th through December 1st. And of course, all the juiciest things are, on Saturday.
On Saturday. So
Yes,
today.
but the amazing announcement has happened, Pineleaf.
Oh, what's that?
Winterstock 4 has gotten a date.
Ooh.
Winterstock 4, which, by the way, I remember when the first Winterstock came out, and it feels like just last year. I mean, this has gone so fast. I can't believe we're already to number 4 already. And Winterstock 4 will be on January 13th through the 16th. And if you're wanting to play in a band registration is now open on the Winterstock website. And it will run through November 30th, so that deadline is coming up pretty soon for the band registration for Winterstock.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was a pretty short window if they've only announced the date, and
I think registration's been open longer, but the official date didn't get announced till recently.
oh yeah, we'll ask fans to
I could be wrong with that,
Register.
though.
but
Register for a concert that will happen in an as yet undetermined time.
Yep.
Hey,
It's a
there's
bit of
players
arbitrary
that would
timing
do
there.
that, though.
Yeah, actually they would. Yeah, I've all my weekends are LOTRO. It's fine. We're good.
I suppose you got a point with that. So then let's head into LOTRO Academy number 137, The Captain. Everything you want to know about how to play a captain in LOTRO.
I am so glad you guys are going through these roundtables now. This is something that the community was really, really wanting, and it's glad that we're, starting to get that with the burglar and now the captain.
Yeah. This was a really cool episode, too. We learned a lot. Because none of the main Academy crew have captains
Well,
as a main.
or at least don't have, as a main, yeah.
As a main.
Well, and as far as...
So yeah, we learned a lot.
Yeah, well, and as far as classes, the captain changed the most post-class changes. So this one's the one, out of all the classes, this one's probably the one that's most needed because of how much they were changed with the class changes.
Right.
So, awesome. Can't wait to listen.
And the Tolkien professor says, any kin, any server. What's any kin or any server? Maven?
Well, Corey is actually getting prepped to do a new discussion series called Exploring Lord of the Rings. It's going to start on Tuesday, January 3rd, which is Tolkien's birthday. And he is going to be going through, certainly not a chapter a week. There's no way. But he's going to be going literally through the books, all 3 books of the trilogy, in-game. So, for example, we'll do, chapter 1, and either during the discussion or right after the book discussion, we'll go to the party tree, say. So he's actually doing, like, a really close reading of the book. He hasn't taught any Lord of the Rings books for, gosh, it's been at least 3 years, maybe longer now. So he's really looking forward to getting back into it and also doing it in game. And because we don't want to just do it on Landerval, we want people to be able to join in game, throughout the thing. We're going to be doing kind of a round robin on the servers, which means he's going to have a character on every server. And to kind of lead up to that, because a lot of folks on a lot of servers haven't really interacted with him all that much. I mean, some of the people that come to listen to him on Twitch, but that's kind of it. He would love to get to know other people on other servers, other kins on other servers, and has basically said, hey, he told me, look, anybody who wants me, if there's any events going on, anybody wants me to come do a lore talk, come do a Q&A, come do a trivia contest, it's basically whatever they want, to let him know, or let me know actually, and we'll schedule that.
Wow.
So we basically have taken the cap off the servers. It's basically anybody, any place who wants to do it, and even the EU servers. He'll do it at a time that works in the Europe. So in the article, I'm the person. I'm his sort of Sam to his Frodo, although that's giving me way more credit than I deserve.
Yeah.
So I'm like his backstage manager. So anybody who would like to find out about this more and talk about perhaps having Corey come in character, and I don't know what, I mean, I don't know that he's actually going to really, be like duplicating his Landy characters. He may do different races and I don't know what he's going to do on the other servers. But to let me know, I'm at lambert@mythgard.org. So you can email me there, or you can tweet me at Tolkien Maven and let me know that you'd like, and we'll make it happen.
Awesome.
And then put January 3rd on your calendar, because that's when this discussion series is going to start.
Now,
And
when you say
we'll be streaming it.
now, when you say any server, even what about the French and German servers?
He said as long as he has somebody who can translate for him, he's fine.
Okay.
So the idea then being to get the exposure, any server, any kin, as an add-on
for people to
doing
get to
the-
know him. Yeah, because folks may not really know of
walkthrough.
him, and
Okay.
and also, we're thinking that this discussion series, I think people would really, anybody who's kind of into the lore would really enjoy it. But if they don't know who this guy is from Adam,
Yeah.
I
I could just imagine his first invitation is from Landreval. No, not from one of the kins you know in Landreval, from one of the Russian kins on Landreval.
yeah, right. Right. That's right.
Brandywine, yeah.
But like I say, as long as he's got a translator, he's good, right? He's golden.
Okay.
So we're good.
Must provide a translator.
Must provide translator. Yes, I should probably add that to the article, right? Non-English speaking kins must provide translator.
Yes. All right. Now let's then head into the Family Line Part 110, Tidings of Bree. Not too sure Bree's a good word for this guy, but okay.
Almost to 111.
Yeah.
71st episode.
Well, that'll be next week.
Yeah.
Then let's head into Embers of Hope, Prologue 3. He really likes the prologues here. The journey ahead. I presume at some point we are going to have an actual story after all this prologue.
Don't be crazy, Pineleaf. It's just going to keep prologuing through the whole series.
It's just like episode 1, 2, and 3 of a certain other series that shall remain.
Yeah, I am just thinking of the Wheel of Time, where the prologues of that were some 30 pages long before we got to chapter 1.
It wasn't the beginning, but it was a beginning.
It was a
Oh my
beginning.
gosh! How many beginnings are we gonna have? Every book! Yes, I know exactly what you are referring to, Pineleaf.
Yes. Then let's go into Critters. Critters Journey 48. Scorched Black Tree Down.
So this is Critters with trees and Fangorn and Gandalf. So if you're interested in that, check out the article.
Spoilers.
That's not a spoiler.
All right. Then we'll head into Poems of the Pines then. The next chapter in the story, Book 11, The Golden Hall. Despite the band, we braved the ford and galloped to the king at the Golden Hall. There Gandalf healed the gray-haired king and expelled the worm that poisoned the land. The king decided to create a force to march to Isengard, where the menace dwelt, and named his knees to the nasty task of bringing the citizens to a safer place. We searched for signs of the serpent's deeds and found the traitors that took his gold. Then we spread the word that as soldiers muster, the people must pack and prepare to leave. The crowd watched as the king assembled the riders of Rohan for battle, while we were charged to challenge the foes that lurk in the land.
Awesome, Pineleaf.
Cool.
Then let's head into our new player question. And Maven, what's our question for this week?
Well, I wanted to kind of have you guys talk a little bit about how raids work. I think some players may assume that a raid is just a fellowship on steroids. In other words, it operates the same way as a fellowship, where everybody gets the kills and everybody gets the heals and everybody gets the ports, and it doesn't really work that way. So I thought we could maybe talk a little bit about sort of how a raid works and what to expect. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, there's some aspects that do work like fellowship and steroids,
Exactly.
but there are other components, yes,
and others that don't. And I think it's important for people to understand what does and what doesn't. Because you may assume, for example, that, there's a hunter in the raid, they'll just port us all. No,
that's
they'll
fellowship
port
only.
their group. They'll port their group, but not the whole entire raid. So, in other words, what is and what isn't? Because I think that's important.
Well, one of the items has to do with captain buffs, because there has... I know this is coming from memory from before the class changes, but I remember whenever there was a captain, they would always jiggle around the raid, so if you only had one captain, it always worked better. It was always better if you had two captains, one for each of the groups in the raid. But if you had only one, then you had to have the captain, then buff these 5 people, then they'll swap them into another group, then buff those people, and then of course,
Lordy,
you've got one
lordy.
other person left over, so now you got to go and buff that person.
Wow.
Yeah, those were the fun days of the game.
So
I don't
that's
know
no
how
longer
much-
the case, right?
I don't
Is
know
that no longer
what's-
the case?
Well, the captain doesn't have the same buffs. The buffs are actually applied
Ah.
in combat versus something
Yep.
you do before combat. The
Right.
idea being the raid, in addition to being more people, has subgroups. 4 groups of 6, 2 groups of 6, and each group within the raid actually functions as a mini fellowship that only applies, group-wide buffs that you may cast off of, XYZ character, only applies to the 6 that are in your subgroup.
Right.
Right. Okay.
And there are some, of course, there are some quests you can't do in a raid. Now, it used to be that there were some landscape quests that you couldn't do in a raid, but they eventually decided to get rid of that because there were a few exploits associated with that little item in there. So they changed it so that on the landscape, but for landscape, while a raid could do any quest, for instances, you cannot enter into an instance in a raid unless it is specifically flagged for a raid. Of course, that's always true with to being too large. For example, you can't enter a solo quest with 2 people.
So now also Slayer, kills are only within your group, right? Within your fellowship
Yes,
group.
those are
when
only
you're in
within your
raids.
fellowship within the raid.
Minstrel
Oh.
heals are minstrel heals only within your
Not only
fellowship.
within your group, yeah.
Minstrel heals that apply to the fellowship, yes.
And hunter ports also, right? So
Yeah,
those 3
fellowship
things are
only.
kind of important because like the kills especially, you're not going to get credit if you're not in the
Yeah, so you need to
same
make
group.
sure that
No.
They get
tagging the kills.
right. Right.
Yeah, because usually both sides are tagging and stuff like that. So I usually don't even notice it because usually there's at least one person from
With
each
the
group. that's
possible
doing it.
exception of raid instances, so if you're in an
Yeah.
instance that's classified as a raid and you're in a raid group for that, probably the kills count cross raid because
Yeah, that's
everybody's
possible.
They
working
do.
on them anyway.
And
they-
also
rating is-
for normal questing, they count across raid as well. It's just deeds that they don't.
Right.
They didn't the other night when we were doing bingo in Mythgard Adventures. They did not count across raid.
I guess just in instances then that works that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's frustrating.
That's
You're
that's
doing a
actually
whole
what brought it
raid
up.
and-
What brought it to mind was like, oh, this would be an
You don't
interesting new
get
player
your
question because a
kills
lot of
across
people were
raid.
unaware. Yeah, a lot of folks were unaware of it. So you have to be aware that that's the case. So if you want everybody to get the kills and all that, it's like it's great if you got people that are experienced, but if you don't have people that are experienced,
Yeah,
it's
you basically
interesting.
need
It's
to
good
make
to
sure
know.
that somebody from each group is able to tag the kills.
Right. And the same is true with hunter ports too. It's like if you assume that the one hunter is going to get everybody at one, there are going to be people left behind.
All right. So that's why sometimes they say, okay, if you got 2 groups, then have a champ in each group since they're the ones giving AoEs a lot. So.
Yep.
Yep. Champ in each group, hunter in each group, cap in each group.
And
mini
you
in
know,
each group.
Yeah,
Those
that's true. And a mini
hunt-
in each
cetera,
group,
cetera.
right? You want to try to get a mini in each group too, right?
Well, you
It's
want to kind of
useful.
split your groups up so
Or-
that
or Cappy
each
and mini.
mini group is kind of like a balanced party. In
Right,
its
that's what I
own
was
way.
thinking. Like you would put each group kind of like you would if it was just a fellowship on its own, kind of, right? With the
Right.
roles, all the roles being represented. Yeah. I mean, that's good. Okay, good.
and I know some
Yeah, I just thought it
raid
was important to bring
leaders.
it up. I know a lot of folks that I was with the other night were not aware of all this stuff. So
Yeah, I
I'm
know
sorry, go
some
ahead, Andy.
raid leaders that will actually subdivide command to the different groups.
right,
And so they'll
Right.
only talk to the group leaders and won't talk to the below people, and the people below will relay everything to, if they didn't hear or whatever, they'll relay everything to the people below and tell them exactly what to be doing at which time, so that way you have much greater control over your raid that way because it's
Right.
subdivided. And if the groups are balanced, that can be even more effective because they'll be able to do the same thing as everyone else will. So it works pretty well.
So it's
yeah, that
doing
makes
it.
sense.
So they're using a military hierarchy then.
Exactly. Yep.
Right. And that makes sense, especially for rating instances. I mean, to me, it seems like that's the way to be successful is to do it that way.
Yep.
That might
All right.
explain.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
All right, then let's head into our weekend LOTRO. And Carvet, what have you been up to?
Well, I finally hung my hat in Mirkwood, and I grabbed a Beorning and began running through the North Downs on my free-to-play account, working on the better Beorning bashing technique. It's fantastic. I got some customer complaints from a few orcs in Nanrathan, but other than that, it was a lot of fun. I rolled a new champ because Xing Xing earns bling bling. And
Okay.
That was what we're supposed to laugh, right? That was supposed to laugh?
I was just, yeah, exactly. It was wah, wah, wah.
The real moneymaker for low levels is probably a mini because you could just go through and one-shout everything.
Oh yeah, if you're gonna TP grind, I would probably do a mini, but I
I
already
have
have a mini.
I have
so.
issues, by the way, with this technique of yours because they're not Bjornings, they're OP furballs.
Well, OP furballs isn't nearly as fun as saying the better Bjorning Bureau. So
The alliteration is worth
yeah,
extra
the alliteration
points.
is totally worth it. So, and dang.
Yes, Carve. This week I restored a statue that apparently was important to some people anyway. I restored it and also destroyed a bridge that was important to a different set of people. And so basically I've determined that I'm like this military civil engineer / civil engineer of like Aragorn's personal private, party basically. So I expect that position to be well paid once he's restored to his rightful kingship, I'm telling you.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, that's what I did this week. Terry Edwin, what have you been up to?
Let's see. Well, Girls of Middle-earth finished out Roving Threats in Angmar, which that was entertaining and slightly painful. And then we did it was painful because I was on my Runekeeper, and
What
she's
was it?
squishy.
Who was it? Who was it? Whoever was kiting the mob kept running over poor Terry's Runekeeper. So of course the mob was then running over Terry's Runekeeper as well, which made it a little difficult.
Slightly painful. And then we did Dark Delvings in Moria, which was also a little painful. It's squishy. But Lashillian is up to level 102 thanks to VIP weekend starting early because it started Wednesday and we went and did skirmishes. And got her and Sanswinda up to level 102.
At exactly the same moment, in fact.
Yeah, exactly the same quest turn in. It was pretty cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Two trees. And then Landry Terry successfully tanked the North Cotton Farms featured instance twice. So I did it at level 100, and then I did it again at level 105. In Redline both times.
Yeah,
That
that's right.
spider did not have a chance. Stupid Legberthil. And they're like, well, you've only got 17,000 morale. Trish, because Trish's hunter is all stacked up on the morale. I'm like, look, it's not how much morale you've got, it's where your mitts are at.
Pick your poison is what I say.
His mitigations are pretty low capped. So yes, she's only got 17,000. It's funny because for whatever reason we DPS the spider down fast enough that I never actually got stuck in one of those poison puddles. So I went looking for it after we were done. I'm like, all right, let me go stand in this puddle. So I'm standing in the puddle and I'm watching the little dot tick, and it's like ticking for like 142 morale at a tick. And I'm like, yeah, no problem.
Well, first of all, by the way, I mean, this whole thing about, Maven's got her up and it's the mitts. First of all, Glordrail's a hunter, okay? Terry is a champion. So there's a difference right there, right out the gate. Second of all, I was on Maven the other night, and I did the same thing. I stood in the puddles, and I hardly had a tick on her. So, I think she's a lore master, and I think her mitts are probably in pretty good shape. So that's
probably.
Good point.
And you've got resistances too, because you've got all
that's
that
right.
will.
That's right. Yeah.
So.
But if even with her stacked up morale, I think if my hunter had stood in that puddle, she still would have seen some significant lowering of the green. Just because she's a hunter, What can I tell you? Anyway, so there.
Anyway, yes, I kicked the spider in the face twice,
She did good.
Then I went and kicked Thader in the face. There was only one time in that level 105 when we were fighting the cauldron, I got down to like 4,000 morale. I'm like, I could maybe use some healing over here. Pretty please.
That's right. I only had to really heal you once, didn't I? Yeah. I was busy slapping Hobbit, so
Yeah.
she had to,
Maven was our designated Hobbit
yeah,
slapper.
she had to let me know to come
Which is
heal her.
important on that particular
That's right.
It is.
event.
So,
That's right.
Pineleaf, what were you up to this week?
All right, we'll begin with the weekly field trip where we valiantly fought insects and deep claws in Moria.
Yes.
Yes.
For the 14th time. Yay!
Right. Then on my main warden, I completed the Update 19 content. I think that's the first time in a while where I managed to complete the content in a timely
Nice.
manner for the area. And I reached Kindred with the Host of the West. And I noticed that while I was getting near the end of this, that I was at 19 on 4 of my 5 slotted virtues, and I was 18 on the remaining one. So, of course, I decided to look up this what would I need to do in order to get to 19 on my 5th trait. And I had 2 choices on the matter. One of them is I could go and kill orcs in Karn Doom. And the other one is I had to talk to some guy at the South Wall Gate in the Pelennor Fields.
Wow.
Tough
Talk to
call.
the guy or-
Yeah, tough call.
Mm.
So, yes. So I finished up that. Yes, I went to the south wall of the Pelennor Fields, talked to the captain there. Boom. All right. Now I have 19 in all 5 of my slotted virtues. And I think it's been a while since I've been full of my virtues there. Finally, my Bjorning cleaned a statue and burned some flowers.
I wonder what you did, Pineleaf. Oh, I wonder if that might have been the same thing Anyway, let's continue.
We currently have 23 supporters on Patreon, and if you would like to join this illustrious rate of players and help support LOTRO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or even be a guest with us for an episode of LOTRO Players News. This week, we did not have any feedback or any emails, but if you'd like to send us one, you can send it to podcast@lotroplayers.com. You could also follow us to Twitter, the Players Alliance @PlayersAlly, Lotro Players @LotroPlayers, Anding @AndingLP, Forte @Forte_Maestro, Carvet @CarvetLP, Maven @TolkienMaven, Pineleaf @PineleafNeedles, and Terry Adwin @TerryAdwin. The Players Alliance has 4 live shows each week. On Mondays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News. On Thursdays at 9 p.m.-ish U.S. Eastern Time, we have XP Quest. Every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Players News. And on the last Friday of each month at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Academy After School. Alas, there was not this one this week because there was Black Friday, and we'll figure out what to do about that. But you can join us for our live shows at lotroplayers.com/live. Thank you everyone for listening, and this is PineleafNeedles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.